afternoon, traders. The only thing I gotta say today is Tesla, Meta, Microsoft all absolutely killed it today. They really closed up higher, really carried the S&P and the Nasdaq overall. But as always, we're going to be going over all the heavy holders in the S&P and the Nasdaq. Please leave a like, consider subscribing. It's always greatly appreciated. But let's get into it. So on Tesla here, what we got was a very, very strong close, breakout above 243, heavy volume, very, very bullish price action on Tesla. Now, the big level I'd watch tomorrow would be the 246.72 gap fill. That's where we closed today. And then I would also watch a move very quickly to 254.81. That's just what the price action is telling me. So that's what I'm going to be watching on Tesla. If we end up coming back down, I'd watch 243 as a major support level. If you break 243, then they'll be opening the gates to back down to 232. Then on Meta, we also closed very on the high side on Meta. So the big thing on Meta to watch is going to be a push to 341.89. If we can get above that level, that's going to lead to a lot more upside. I would say the next critical level on Meta, if we do cross that 341.89, I do think that would be very possible for us to see 349.76. We'll actually lower that just a tad. Let's draw that in for a upside level. And then I would also watch that gap fill trade at 339. That's where we end up closing today. We really closed out at 338.99, but close enough to 339. So if we end up rallying to the upside in the pre-market or the aftermarket, I would watch that gap fill trade before proceeding higher or lower. But for tomorrow, 341.89 is in effect. Then I would watch 330.54 as well. Then we got Microsoft. Microsoft absolutely killed it. We ended up hitting 383, basically held that 383 level. We closed at 382.70, I believe. Yeah. So what we're going to be watching for tomorrow on Microsoft is I'll be very curious about that 383 level. I don't want to draw a gap fill trade because 383 is the major resistance level now. And it's so close to that it'd be more effective for us to watch for a 383 reject or a breakthrough to get some more upside on Microsoft than the gap fill. Just a lot more confluence. And then also, if you do decide to short the close of this candle on a gap fill trade, it's more likely going to run to 383 than to 382.70. But tomorrow, I'll watch 383. If we get to the downside, then I'll watch 379.79. We'll just call that 379.80 just to be safe. Then on, let's see, Amazon. The big levels I was watching on Amazon was that 145.89. We got a big drop in the morning. Very close to that gap fill trade I was calling out in yesterday's video and this morning's video. I was really eyeing that level. I just didn't like how early in the morning that it was forming up, so I didn't bother looking at it the rest of the day. But the big gap fill level I'm watching tomorrow is going to be 147.03. I continue to watch 145.89. Personally, in my opinion, I think that we're going to get a push to 149.26. If we continue to get pushes like we have been today within the tech sector, we did very, very good, which is always a big boost to QQ and SPY. So tomorrow I would watch 145.89 and watch 149.26 on Amazon. On Google, the big levels I'm going to be watching on Google is going to be in the next coming weeks, not necessarily tomorrow, but definitely watch 132.09 for that gap fill. We have a long ways before we worry about that gap fill. That's all I got to say. But on Google, we closed out very strong. Nothing abnormal in terms of price action, but definitely on the stronger side. So that's always a positive. I would definitely watch that 137.42 level tomorrow. As we can see from 2 days ago on, let's see, when was that? The 27th, actually yesterday. Wow, what a day. I would watch yesterday's close, so which was that it rejected that 137.42 level. So I definitely keep that on the lookout. If we reject that, then it'll definitely be more of a confluence and more higher probability that we get moved back down 135. If we can get a break above 137.42, I do think that the next big move is going to be to 141. But it all depends if we can reclaim 137.42. Then on SPY, the big thing is I'm going to be watching on SPY for tomorrow. Is going to be that gap fill trade at 454.93. We got another gap fill right down here at 453.27. What I ideally be looking for on a gap fill trade like that is for there to be maybe like a hammer candle that whose wick is at 453.16 and crosses 453.27 that with heavy volume. That's kind of like what I'm going to be looking for a gap fill trade on that. In terms of gap fill trades for tomorrow, let me just make sure that I put this level in correctly. 454.93, I did. So watch 454.93. We end up rejecting that level up at, let me see what that level was. I can't see it with this line in. So we end up rejecting around that 456.38 level. So if we can break above that 456.38, then I expect to move up to 459 quite fast. And personally, I'll be entering heavy long if we get above 456.38. Now, the trades I end up taking today off of SPY were the following. I ended up getting long right after this candle closed. We got a nice close above the top of this candle, leading me to believe that there's going to be a little bit more upside. I got out of it like right here, scalped it for a quick 20%, but unfortunately I didn't do my homework on the second trade and gave it all back the next trade. So was not the best, but you live and learn. I didn't do my homework on the contracts. I'm so used to choosing out of the money contracts. Really, the best risk reward was at the money contracts, but lesson learned on that. So I definitely watch that 456.38 level, and I'd watch as a support level 453 on SPY on QQQ. The levels I'm watching on QQQ is going to be 393.07, and I'd also watch 388.33. If we end up breaking down 388.33, then 383 would be it would be a very fast target to hit. And below 383 is going to be a whole world of hurt for the Qs. But that's what I'm watching